Ramadan is the month of fasting, mercy and forgiveness, a time when millions of Muslims give up food and drink for the sake of Allah, hoping for His rewards. But here's a question most people never ask themselves. What if your fasting isn't actually bringing you closer to Jannah? Because the truth is, not everyone who fasts will enter paradise. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us about this. He said there are people who fast, yet they get nothing from their fasting except hunger and thirst. That means it's possible to go through the entire month of Ramadan fasting every single day and still be deprived of Allah's mercy. Why? Because fasting is more than just staying hungry. It's about your actions, your intentions, and what's in your heart. So before it's too late, let's uncover the 5 types of fasters who risk missing out on paradise despite fasting, and most importantly, let's make sure we're not one of them. Number 1, the one who gossips and backbites while fasting. Let's be honest, fasting without controlling your tongue is like trying to fill a bucket with holes. Some people spend the entire day hungry and thirsty, thinking they're earning rewards, only to destroy their fast with their own words. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Whoever does not give up false speech and evil actions, Allah is not in need of his leaving his food and drink." Let that sink in. Allah doesn't just want you to stop eating, He wants you to stop harming others with your words. But here's where it gets scary. Imagine fasting all day, feeling the hunger, counting the minutes until Maghrib, only to have your rewards wiped away because you spent the day gossiping about someone. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned, a person may utter a single word without thinking, and because of it, they fall into the depths of hellfire. That means a single careless sentence can erase all the effort of your fasting. So before we speak, we need to ask ourselves, what I want this said about me? Would I say this if the person were here? Is this bringing me closer to Allah or closer to regret? Because the truth is, if our fasting doesn't stop our tongues from harming others, we're only starving ourselves for nothing. Number 2. The one who abandoned Salah but still fasts. Here's a reality check. Fasting without praying is like building a house without a foundation. Some people take fasting so seriously, they wake up for suhoor, they count the hours, they make sure they don't take a single sip of water, but when it's time for Salah, nowhere to be found. But here's the shocking truth. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "The first thing a person will be questioned about on the Day of Judgment is their Salah. If it is good, the rest of their deeds will be good, but if it is bad, the rest of their deeds will be bad." Think about that. Before fasting, before charity, before anything else, Allah will ask about our Salah first. And here's something even scarier. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said, between a person and disbelief is the abandonment of Salah. That means skipping Salah is not just a small mistake. It's something that separates belief from disbelief. So what's the point of starving yourself all day, only to neglect the most important pillar of Islam after Shahada? Because here's the truth. Fasting without Salah is like trying to earn rewards while leaving the door to hellfire wide open. And if we're not praying, the real question is, are we fasting for Allah or just following tradition? Number 3, the one who holds grudges and refuses to forgive. Ramadan is the month of mercy and forgiveness, but some people fast all day while carrying a heart full of anger, resentment and grudges. They refuse to forgive. They hold on to past hurts like a badge of honor. They say things like, "I'll never forget what they did to me." But here's the thing. How can we expect Allah to forgive us when we can't even forgive others? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Show mercy to others, and Allah will show mercy to you. Forgive others, and Allah will forgive you." That means our own forgiveness from Allah depends on how we treat others. And here's where it gets even more serious. The Prophet ﷺ also said, "On Mondays and Thursdays the gates of paradise are opened, and Allah forgives every servant who does not associate partners with him, except for the one who holds a grudge." It is said, "Hold back their forgiveness until they reconcile." That means even if you fast, pray, and worship Allah, if your heart is full of hatred, your forgiveness is delayed. And let's be real, is any grudge worth losing, Jannah? Because on the day of judgment, no one will care about their ego. No one will care who was right or wrong. The only thing that will matter is that Allah forgives us. So if we want Allah's mercy this Ramadan, the first step is simple. Cleanse our hearts and let go of what's holding us back. Number 4, the one who fasts but indulges in haram. Some people treat fasting like a part-time act of worship. They stay away from food and drink during the day, but the moment Maghrib arrives, it's back to business as usual. They avoid eating haram but have no problem listening to haram. They won't drink water, but they'll watch things that corrupt their heart. They stay away from food but indulge in sin without hesitation. And here's where it gets serious. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "How many people fast yet gain nothing from their fasting except hunger and thirst?" That means fasting is not just about avoiding food, it's about avoiding everything that corrupts the soul. Allah also tells us in the Quran, Surah Al-An'am 6:151, "Do not approach immorality, whether open or hidden." Yet some people treat Ramadan like a game of temporary self-control. They behave all day only to go back to their old ways the second the fast is over. But let's ask ourselves, are we fasting just to feel hungry, or are we fasting to truly purify ourselves? Because the reality is, if our fasting doesn't change us, then what was the point? Number 5, the one who seeks praise for their fasting. Some people don't fast for Allah, they fast for attention. They want to be seen, admired, and praised. They make sure everyone knows how much they're fasting, how hungry they are, how tired they feel, as if Ramadan is a performance. "Oh, I'm fasting today. I'm starving. You have no idea how hard my fast is. Look at me. I'm so pious." But here's the reality. If we seek praise from people, we lose the reward from Allah. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Whoever does a deed to show off, Allah will expose their intentions on the day of judgment." That means if our fasting is just for likes, compliments, or recognition, then that's all we'll get. No reward, no blessings, nothing from Allah. And here's something even more serious. The Prophet ﷺ also told us about the first 3 people to be thrown into the hellfire. One of them will be a person who did good deeds just for the sake of praise. That means seeking admiration for worship is not a small mistake. It's a disaster. Because the truth is, Allah does not accept actions done for show. He only accepts what is done sincerely for Him. So, before we fast, we should ask ourselves, am I doing this for Allah or for people? Would I still do this if no one knew? Is my heart seeking rewards or seeking attention? Because in the end, Allah does not look at our hunger. He looks at our sincerity. My dear brothers and sisters, Ramadan is a gift, an opportunity to be forgiven, purified, and elevated. But as we've seen, not everyone who fasts will receive that reward, because fasting is not just about hunger. It's about changing our hearts, our habits, and our connection with Allah. And here's where it gets serious. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Jibril alayhi salam came to me and said, 'May he be destroyed, the one who witnesses Ramadan and is not forgiven.' So I said, 'Ameen.' Think about that for a second. Even the greatest angel, Jibril alayhi salam, made dua against the person who lives through Ramadan, yet fails to gain Allah's forgiveness. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself said, Ameen. That means there's no greater loss than coming out of Ramadan the same way we entered it. Because in the end, it's not just about fasting, it's about transformation. So now ask yourself, am I fasting in a way that will bring me closer to Jannah, or am I just going hungry without true change? The choice is ours, and the time to make that choice is right now, before it's too late. So today, make this simple dua. Ya Allah, let my fasting be a means of forgiveness, not just hunger. Purify my heart, accept my deeds, and make me among those who enter Jannah. And if this message touched your heart, comment below, Ya Allah, accept my fasting and forgive my sins. Your words might inspire someone else to seek Allah's mercy. And don't forget, liking and subscribing cost nothing, but it helps spread reminders that bring us all closer to Allah. May Allah grant us sincerity, forgive our shortcomings, and allow us to leave Ramadan as better believers than when we entered. Ameen.